The biological reason only humans cook. Think about almost any other predator on Earth. So many of them spend a huge chunk of their lives just chewing. Hours a day, grinding through tough, raw food. Every predator, except for one. Have you ever stopped to wonder why we don't do that? Why are humans the only species, among millions, that has built its entire world around fire to cook its food? The answer isn't just about making things taste better. The secret is buried deep in our biology, a kind of prehistoric metabolic heist that changed our evolution forever and turned our ancestors into the planet's first and only master chefs. This isn't just the story of how we learned to make a meal. It's the story of how a meal made us human. To get why cooking was such a game changer, you have to picture what life was like without it. For our early ancestors, life was tough and very, very chewy. Imagine you're a hominid, millions of years ago. Your whole day is about one thing, getting enough energy to make it to tomorrow. You spend hours foraging for fruits, nuts, and fibrous, gritty tubers. If you get lucky, maybe you'll find some meat. But every single bite is raw. Our closest living relatives, chimpanzees, give us a window into this world. Depending on what's available, some chimps can spend hours and hours every day just chewing. Think about that. A huge portion of your day dedicated to just processing your food. All that chewing was necessary because raw food, especially the tough plant matter our ancestors ate, locks its nutrients behind hardy cell walls. For our ancestors, this was a massive biological problem. To break down all that raw material, they needed a heavy-duty digestive system. Big jaws, thick teeth, and a long, energy-guzzling gut were non-negotiable. But that powerful anatomy came with a trade-off. All the energy spent building and running this digestive machinery was energy that couldn't be used for anything else, especially for building a bigger brain. See, a brain is an incredibly expensive piece of equipment. In modern humans, the brain is only about 2% of our body weight, but it devours around 20% of our energy when we're just sitting around. Our early ancestors faced an evolutionary bottleneck. They couldn't easily get enough calories from a raw diet to power both a big gut and a big brain. They were stuck. Something had to change, and that something was fire. Mastering fire was a huge deal. But the real revolution began when our ancestors started putting food in it. Pinning down the exact moment cooking began is tricky, and it's a hot debate among archaeologists. While some of the most solid evidence for hearths dates to around 400,000 years ago, some tantalizing clues, like cooked fish remains, found in Israel, push that timeline back to around 780,000 years ago. This wasn't just a small upgrade, it was a metabolic heist. Cooking, in essence, is digestion outside the body. Here's how it worked. Applying heat to food does two critical things. First, it softens it. Tough muscle fibers and plant cell walls break down, making everything way easier to chew and swallow. That simple change immediately cut down on the time and physical effort needed to eat. Second, and this is the big one, heat unlocks calories. Take a starchy root, like a potato. Raw, its energy is locked up in dense, crystalline granules. But when you cook it, those granules swell and burst in a process called starch gelatinization. This makes the starches far more available for your digestive enzymes to attack. The same goes for proteins in meat. Cooking denatures them, unwinding their complex structures so our bodies can get more out of them with less work. Basically, cooking pre-digests our food before it even enters our mouths. It outsources all the tough work to the fire. Suddenly, our ancestors were getting a massive surplus of calories and nutrients from the very same foods they were eating before. The treasure chest was finally open. So, what did they do with all that extra energy? They invested it in the most powerful organ on the planet, the human brain. This is the heart of the cooking hypothesis, an idea famously championed by primatologist Richard Wrangham. It links up with another theory called the expensive tissue hypothesis, which proposes a trade-off between the size of the brain and the size of the digestive tract. Since both are metabolically expensive tissues, it's hard to have a large version of both. As our ancestors came to rely on cooked food, the evolutionary pressure for a giant, energy-draining gut likely began to fade. The food was softer and more calorie-dense. Over generations, this may have led to huge changes in our anatomy. Our jaws got smaller and our teeth became less like grinding slabs because they no longer needed to work on tough, raw food all day. Most importantly, it's thought that our digestive tract, especially the gut, started to shrink. This was the metabolic trade-off in action. The energy saved from fueling a smaller gut was redirected. It was stolen, so to speak, and sent straight to the head. Many believe this new energy surplus is what fueled the dramatic expansion of the brain we see in our ancestor, Homo erectus, starting around 1.8 million years ago. While it's a hypothesis, a bigger brain would have enabled more complex social groups, better tools, and eventually, language. Cooking didn't just feed our bodies, it may have fed the very minds that created culture. And it also freed up something just as valuable: time. No longer forced to chew for half the day, our ancestors could spend more hours hunting, making tools, building social bonds, and teaching the next generation. The campfire wasn't just a kitchen anymore. It became the world's first living room, a place to share food, information, and stories. This shift wasn't just a new trick. It seems to have fundamentally rewired our species. We didn't just learn to cook. It appears we evolved to depend on it. This is a crucial point. Many scientists argue that modern humans are now biologically adapted to a cooked food diet. Unlike our ancient ancestors, most modern humans would struggle to thrive on a diet of purely raw foods in the wild. Some studies on modern raw foodists have found associations with chronic energy deficiency and low body weight, suggesting our smaller guts can't always extract enough energy from uncooked food to keep us going. Our biology has come to expect the energy bonus that cooking provides. Researchers are even exploring potential genetic signals of this adaptation, looking at genes related to metabolism that show signs of positive selection in the human lineage. It suggests that over hundreds of thousands of years, natural selection may have favored individuals whose bodies were better at processing cooked food. We became the species that cooks because, in a way, cooking became part of our biology. So while other animals, from apes to birds, might show a preference for cooked food if you offer it to them, they haven't built their entire evolutionary strategy around it. We're the only ones who systematically control fire to process what we eat, and we've been doing it for so long that it has shaped who we are. Every time you step into the kitchen, you're carrying on a legacy that began around a fire hundreds of thousands of years ago. It's one of the most profound, yet ordinary things we do. This journey from raw to cooked is filled with fascinating scientific debates. So, I have a question for you. What aspect of human evolution do you find most surprising? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed uncovering the secrets of our past, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more explorations into what makes us human. From the daily grind of a raw food world to the metabolic heist that unlocked a universe of energy, the story of cooking is the story of us. It's the biological reason we stand alone as the chefs of the animal kingdom. The shrinking of our guts and the explosive growth of our brains likely wasn't an accident. It's thought to be the evolutionary payoff for mastering the flame. This transformation was so deep that we can't easily go back. We aren't just the species that can cook. It's more accurate to say we're the species that must cook. So the next time you make dinner, take a moment to appreciate what it really means. That simple act is a reenactment of the turning point that may have separated our destiny from every other living thing on this planet. Every meal you cook isn't just a recipe. It's a celebration of the prehistoric metabolic heist that cooked our way to consciousness.